Hello and welcome to another Frenchic's Top Tip video. I'm Craig Phillips, their brand ambassador. Today I'm at home showing you how to prepare and paint 3 different types of fence panels so they last. One of the areas we have is picket fencing with wooden posts set into the ground, which are made from sawn softwood timber. Now you might be thinking this is a quick and easy style of fencing to paint. Unfortunately it's not. It has 4 sides to every vertical slat, as well as horizontal arras rails, posts and a gate. This style of fencing can often be the most time consuming and difficult to paint because of its shape. We also have a large section of close board fencing at the front of our house, covering around 30 square metres, which is also a rough sawn softwood timber that's already been tannalised. Then alongside our driveway we have the standard 6 foot wide fence panels. These are often held up by wooden or concrete posts and a baseboard. This fencing has been here a lot longer than the others and will therefore need a little more prep. Now the tools and products you're going to require are, for the preparation, a good jet wash. I'm going to use 2 different types of electric sanders, wire wool brushes for the cleaning side and scrubbing brushes, safety specs and a dust mask. Now the materials I'm going to require are Frenchic's Alfresco paint, which is suitable for indoors or outdoors, and some concentrated sugar soap for the cleaning side of things. And in terms of your application, you have your trusty paintbrush of course, or you could use a small radiator roller with a tray, or if you happen to have a small handheld electric paint sprayer. Start off by using a stiff hard brush to remove any loose debris, mud, moss and cobwebs from the surface you intend to paint. Then I use a good powerful jet wash to clean any algae and mould which may have formed on the panels over the years. The jet wash not only cleans the surfaces very well, but removes any previous loose flaking paint that you may not have noticed. Now once you've finished cleaning your panels with your jet wash, you must leave these to dry for at least 3 to 4 days, because the drier the timber is, the better the new paint's going to adhere. Now if the weather happens to change like it has done here and it starts to rain, you're going to need to cover your fence panels. Drape some polythene over the top of them to keep them dry, and then the moment it stops raining, remove them to let the wind at them, which will help them dry quicker. Now the timber is clean and dry, you can give the panels and the close board fencing strips a good firm wire brushing, followed by a heavy sanding to start with. Then once you've got rid of all the splinters and rough edges, you can change your sanding pads to a lighter grit and softly sand all the surfaces one final time. And don't forget to wear your PPE. Now preparation needn't be that long. Well, unless you're disturbed of course, once, twice, 3 times. Really Nelly? Come on. 4 times? I could have got the Golden Gate Bridge prepped and painted by this time. 5 times? Nelly, are you kidding me? 6 times? I'm going to be here till Christmas. So that's your preparation complete. The timber is dry, it's all been sanded down, you're ready to start painting. But first of all, do a weather check, because you only want to apply your paint if the temperature is between 10 and 35 degrees Celsius. And of course that it's dry, like it is today, with no moisture in the air. And then you're ready to start painting. So I'm going to show you 3 methods of applying your Frenchic paint. One of course with your brush, the roller and the handheld paint sprayer. Once you've opened your tin, give it a little stir around. I often give it a little shake and then a quick stir. You can take it directly from the can and apply it straight onto the surfaces. All Frenchic paints have a very thick, creamy texture to them and are so easy and enjoyable to apply. Frenchic's Alfresco range is a durable, weatherproof, UV-resistant chalk paint that's specially developed to protect and transform garden items, as well as inside furniture, with an endless choice of colours to pick from. Or the second method is your roller. Pour a little small amount into your tray, get a fair bit onto the roller, and then it's so much quicker for when you're doing larger areas, or certainly the flat section of this picket fence here. As you can see, that spread a little bit quicker than the actual paintbrush itself. Now the third and final option of application is using your handheld paint sprayer. However, you will have to dilute the paint down to use with your paint sprayer. So I'm just going to take about 10 or 15% water, pour that in, take my stirrer again, give that a good stir up, Lots of people do ask us on social media, do you have to dilute the paint down when you're using the paint sprayer? And when it's a great quality paint like Frenchic is, the answer is yes. It's really thick. This is the kind of consistency you're looking for. So it just drips off your steering stick like that. And then you put that straight into the reservoir. Put your lid back on there, click, connect, and then you're ready to start paint spraying. It's not just the preparation you need your PPE, I'd also recommend using it when applying paint with a sprayer. If you're using it for the very first time, it only takes a few minutes to get used to. I hold the nozzle about 4 to 6 inches away from the surface and I continuously move it up and down, and then side to side. Of course, you are going to get a small amount of overspray. Don't worry about this, just make sure you've got your dust sheets down on the floor or your cardboard. But when you have got a lot of slats to paint like this on this type of fencing, it really does save you time when using a paint sprayer. Where heavy traffic is involved, leave to dry for 2 to 3 weeks until it's fully cured. So that is one coat now completed on about 40 linear meters of picket fencing. I'm going to leave this to dry for a couple of hours, then apply a second coat. Leave that for a further 2 hours before applying the third coat. Now the reason I'm applying a third coat is because I've diluted my paint down just a fraction. However, if you were painting this with a paintbrush or a roller, you'd only require 2 coats, and that's undiluted straight out of the can. Whilst I'm waiting for my picket fence to dry, I'm going to make a start on this fencing. It's a very common one. Everybody's seen them in the garden. 6 foot wide fence panels held together with 2 concrete posts either side and sometimes sitting onto a concrete baseboard. Now I'm going to be using my paint sprayer again because I've got about, well, 25, 30 of them across the length of our driveway, and I do need to give them 3 coats. If you haven't got a paint sprayer, of course you can still get a great finish using a brush or roller. For the Frenchic paints to perform to their full potential, you need to ensure you apply them effectively. One key factor is the rate of coverage. For example, a 750ml tin of alfresco or the lazy range will provide a single coat of up to 12.5 square meters. For a durable finish, 2 coats are required, so your 750ml tin should provide full coverage for just 6 square meters on non-porous surfaces. However, porous surfaces like bare wood or MDF tend to absorb paint, meaning additional coats are required to achieve a durable finish. In this case, your 750ml tin will provide less than 6 square meters of full coverage. If you apply the paint too thinly, durability may be affected, so we recommend you ensure the surface is sufficiently covered. Now, as you can see, I'm spraying over the concrete posts. Now I'm going to be picking these out with a different colour once this has dried overnight. And of course, if you didn't want the concrete post painting, you could mask over them to protect them. The alfresco inside-outside range can be used on concrete, ceramics, metal, composites, UPVC, laminates and hard and soft woods. We fitted this close-board fencing at the front of our house around 3 years ago. The timber is a rough sawn softwood and had already been tannalised before we installed it, so it already had some protection. Once I'd prepped it, I gave it 3 good coats of alfresco, all applied with the paint sprayer. Each coat only took about 4 minutes to cover the full 30 square meters. I always hold up a piece of cardboard over the top back edge of the fencing to stop any overspray. I left that to dry for about 2 hours, applied a second coat, left that to dry for a further 2 hours before applying a third coat. Now the beauty about using a paint sprayer is it dries a lot quicker and you can apply your second coat on in a shorter space of time. My side gate is now ready to paint. It had the wax on to start with, it got scrubbed, it got jet washed, it was left to dry, then it was heavily sanded and then sanded again. Now if I was painting this the same colour as my fencing, I'd simply use my sprayer and I wouldn't worry about any overspray going on today. However, I'm going to be using the smudge, which is a different colour than the greyhound I used here on the fence. So I can't mask this up because I only painted it the third coat about an hour ago and it's touch dry, but I don't want to put any masking tape on. So I'm going to simply use my brush. I've been in the construction industry for over 3 decades and I've used hundreds of different brands of paint over the years. And I can honestly say that Frenchic really is my first choice. You can see why millions of people are hashtagging it best paint in the world. Paints like a dream. Frencic's Alfresco inside-outside paint range is self-priming, self-sealing and self-leveling. It also dries with an almost flat matte finish. It's certified EN 713, which means it's safe to use on children's toys. Now, because I painted my first coat with the brush, I have left this for 2 hours to completely dry before I've started my second coat. Finally, back to my picket fences. The 3 coats have dried from the Greyhound, and I've decided to continue using the smudge across the front and back of the arras rails at the top and the bottom of the picket fence. I'm also painting the posts and the bars on the gate. Frenchic's brand is all about the passion and the people. Easy to use for beginners as well as the choice for professionals. It's environmental friendly with the official royal approval and went on to win a Queen's Award for Enterprise. Now, on the front you will need a steady hand cutting in these small squares here. They are quite time consuming, but will be worth it in the end. Now, the icing on the top of the cake is these plastic caps. They fit on top of the fence post and they're just perfect for any weather coming down, protecting that timber where it's cut along the top. You can either glue them down or screw them into position. And they even come in the same colour as Greyhound. So that is all you need to know about preparing and painting your fences. Laura and I have spent the last 3 years building our dream house, and we've had the pleasure of using Frenchic Paint throughout almost every room of our home. From walls to ceilings to skirting boards to furniture, as well as our garden office. There really isn't much around our home or garden that hasn't been Frenchic'd. It's certainly worth spending that extra hour or two getting the preparation right, because not only will it look great, but it's going to last longer. I often say, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. If you're looking for more inspiration, why don't you check out the Frenchic Fan Forum on Facebook. And if you want to know more information about the products I've been using, just check out their website, frenchicpaints.co.uk.